Hey, Purpose Peeps, this is Dena, your sister in purpose, and I've got something really, really juicy that I want to talk about. And I want to talk about my experience on the purpose path with identities. With identities. hmm And this was a major, major shift. So come in close and let's have a fireside chat. So, let's see. So, when I was heavy into the throes of my purpose path, and I didn't necessarily know it, I hadn't gotten to the point of my sincerest ask. I did have some asks, but I didn't get to that, guttural, surrender ask. Things started happening in my life. And so the things that I thought identified myself. So if we would have done an I am exercise, I mean we'll be doing some soon. So I'm excited about that sidebar. But if we did an I am exercise and you said, "Who are you, Dena?" Okay, I'm a mother. I work at X place. I do this. They were all doings. None of them was. They were all titles. They were all like different degrees of outside of me. And in my life, what happened was that each identity, I was having challenges in each one of those identities. So, number one, I was laid off from a job that I really enjoyed, and so that was one thing. And another thing, I said I'm a mom, so each one of my children was having some level of crisis. Okay, and so if you I'm at a different level of consciousness to be able to see that differently. But at that time, that was like, oh gosh, I felt so dispowered, at that point in my life. Because two of the things that were real, hallmarks of success for me and a really big part of my calling card were, going away. And I just kept seeing it as something outside of myself. I went through my periods of blame. I went through my periods of, all this to them. If only I could do that, all that kind of stuff. But where I started to shift was that I started having crises in my health. Okay, so when you start talking about crises in your health, it's very difficult to do a them, they, if only they would, if only this happened, if only da 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 da. When you're talking about your health, okay, so that's internal. So initially you can say, oh, that's because I'm stressed because they did this or that happened, and if only I could control that, then I could. No. And the more I started having some really, really big challenges in my health, the more I was just going into, this like, what's going on? Something has to be going on. I no longer accept the survival patterns of shame and blame. I'm not doing that anymore. This did not happen because I forgot to close the front door when I was 10. This did not happen because, you put your thing in there. These were things that were happening, for a reason. And just, again, that was a sincere ask. So with that sincere ask, it just kind of opened it up. And initially it opened up to everything it was not. And that really helped to clarify some old survival patterns and some old, ways of thinking and some old belief systems that didn't work anymore. Because when you're in crisis and you're trying to medicate with old stuff that doesn't work anymore, can I tell you, you will get really, really clear, really, really fast. Because you're like, I can't deal with no more of that stuff because it's ineffective. It's not working. I've outgrown that cistern. I'm someplace else. I don't know what that is. So again, we talked about that before. That's where your ambiguity and being okay with ambiguity kind of kicks in because you realize I'm being transported someplace else. I don't know where. I know it's for me. It's in response to my prayer and my ask. I got my prayer journal. If I need to go back there in my brain to hush my brain up, and you can keep, persevering with that, And so, when all these identities left, and I mean, just, you're just one by one, and then you're like, well, who am I? And then I just started to have this conversation, with God. Okay, this, why, what am I here for? Because if I'm looking at all these things outside of myself, like a lot of us do, when we're looking for purpose, when we're looking outside of ourselves for all this stuff, and we don't have the results, or we don't have sustainable results, which is an illusion, because life is cyclical. So, even if I'm having a time where, I'm having, major success in an area of my life, when I'm going to my next, I may go through a period of, being unsure, not knowing, falling down, getting back up, falling down and getting back up until I get to the next, level of a measure of success. So it's just, I try not to get stuck on that anymore, because I just recognize, oh, okay, so I'm just going someplace else. Okay, cool. And then I leave, and then instead of putting all this pressure on my kids, on my relationship, on my finances, on my this, on my whatever, to perform, because that, you make me, doggone it, so I need you to perform. That's not a recipe for manifesting. That's not, it grieves me, because that's not a support construct for divine spark. All this, pressure, and then getting to the why, and it's so that, I can hide, or I can get some relief from the disruption that I'm feeling in my life right now. And it took years and all these different processes, and where I thought I had gotten someplace in one or whatever, and then it was another layer, whatever, and then I got really quiet, because I really needed to spend time with God alone, and because this transition was so big in I needed to go way beyond where I was. It was like an expansive transformation was happening. And I just didn't have any containers for that. And how many of you have felt that if you are an edge walker, if you are a bridge, if you are a change agent, if you are an ambassador of change, whatever language you want to put on it, that there are those eagle times when you have to fly by yourself to your next destination. And, it's just like that. But that huge part of just dismantling these false selves to get to the true self was a huge part of my purpose path. It still is. It still is, but I'm in awareness. I'm in awe of it. I kind of get excited when I see it come up now, even though it's scary and my stomach is doing flip-flops and I want to spend a lot of time in the bathroom. I still have a part of me that's growing and evolving, and it's just like, oh my goodness, here's another one. Even though I want to vomit, I'm really excited. I know that on the other side of that, is something beautiful that I couldn't have imagined, because I'm going to a part of myself that I've never visited before. And that means that I will have a part of myself that's available to serve like I've never served before. So here's the phone. It's going to stay in the video. Thank you for your time, and here's to an impactful and purposeful day.